I don't even.
It's gonna, it keeps doing that, I'm sorry, it's just like not a movement,
Yeah.
it just does that.
So we're talking about.
You're amazing.
So the two reasons I take, so 360 degrees of wonderfulness, and then taking an idea that isn't necessarily derivative or iterative. It's not like, oh, it's the Pinterest for cats, or it's CrossFit for dogs. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm saying the same. Like, what we were coming up with is just, it's a very original concept. It's just to take static text, deconstruct it, and then rebuild it in the form of video. So it's, in a way, creating video in real time.
It's like artificial intelligence, I feel
Well, there's
bad for some people.
Well, no, it's not actually even going in that
Okay.
direction as much as it's unlocking. There's over 2 million blog posts created every day.
Yeah.
So our technology is actually unlocking that content and helping brands that are media companies monetize that content in a video format. So when you think about display ads, those will monetize at, let's say, $5, $10, $15 maybe in terms of CPM, so cost per 1,000 impressions. Video is about double that, sometimes even triple that.
Yeah.
So when you think about, so you're telling me that I could take existing text that I already have, put it through your system, and out the other end I get an embeddable video just like YouTube, and I can charge more money, and I really, my investment to your software is pretty minimal. So that's exciting, it's interesting, and it's in the same same thread of visual storytelling.
Yeah.
If you look kind of consistently, I've worked with brands, I've worked with the internet, and I've worked with data sets to combine it and tell stories that impact people, that motivate people, that educate people, that entertain people. So it feels like a natural continuum. It isn't.
It's like a combination of everything that you've done into kind of one with wonderful people around.
Yes.
Okay.
Trying to get all the pieces right,
Is the team big or small or?
We're about 9 people full time, and we're all in one place, which is nice. And
all in Miami.
All in Miami, and we have some fantastic engineers. We have an incredible vice president of product, and he's just amazing and so detail oriented. I feel that I'm detail oriented, and he takes it to a whole new level. And then my business partner and our CEO, founder, and visionary is Freddie Laker, and this is his third company.
I read his stuff,
And he's wonderful and hilarious. He'll always make me laugh, and that's something. Laughter is such a wonderful thing. It's free, right? It's one of you can go and get your nails done, or you can go on vacation, and those are all things that kind of make you feel better.
Yeah.
But I laugh enough during the day that I feel like I don't even need those things sometimes.
Oh, and you just left LA. California.
So LA, and just we wrapped up the end of last year, right after the election. It was a really smooth and wonderful transition. Hard, to say goodbye, but at the same time, a lot of support, and time to go on after 6 years.
Just moved to Miami.
And then I moved to Miami. Yes.
Just got back. Miami.
Yeah.
No, I think
when you're single and you don't own any furniture, and
that's a good thing to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I rent my furniture. I have maybe 10 boxes worth of personal possessions that I'll take with me, and
that opportunity was there, so that's amazing. Okay, let me get to my questions. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I did that. You created HG, but okay, you did say you wanted a more work-life balance, right?
So work-life balance was something that it's something kind of thrown out as a term. We see it a lot on talk shows, and people kind of talk about this mythical thing. But I worked a lot. I worked at my peak well over 100 hours a week because I had a full-time job that I was putting in about 60 hours.
Yeah.
And then I was working to build the other company from the ground up, and that was sometimes another 50 to 60 hours. So there were days, and I'm not kidding you, where I would not sleep for up to 2 full nights. So I would rally and go and rally and go.
So you were working a lot. And how long did that last for, do you think?
So that was 3 years, and
like 100 hours, 80 to 100 hours a week. You were working.
100 hours plus a week.
And it was just like
It was just nonstop.
It was like you had this Energizer bunny inside you, like I just want to do this. And it's great.
I was motivated because I was excited because the things I was doing nights and weekends were extra interesting and special, and I was kind of in control. I was the boss.
So you never went out, you never...
No. And I never, in college, I was the same way.
You're the same way,
I have a really strong work ethic. I I have a lot of energy. My ancestors came across the Oregon Trail, not the game, but the actual
really?
physical Oregon Trail. My parents are farmers and they, work around the clock, and it's the work ethic. It goes back to some of the stuff I said early on. Work ethic and discipline have always been the North Star in my approach to everything.
It's just like you just work. It's like this
Yeah.
is just
But-
it's like your norm.
It was my norm, but then I burn out. I full on hit that point of my brain got a little fuzzy. I couldn't rally as easily. It was taking more and more caffeine. I won't even tell you how many sugar-free Red Bull cases that I go through. And I was realizing that this isn't healthy. And my sister actually pulled me aside and said, I'm afraid you're going to get cancer or something like this.
Yeah,
the amount of stress and
And you started practicing yoga through that process, or?
So I've been an athlete my whole life. I did 3 sports all through high school and very physically active and a lot of weight training and yoga all through college. So when I started building the company, 100 hours, you have to start stealing time from things, right? So workout, out. Friends, out. Family, out. Brushing your hair, out. Eating right, out. So all of those things were compromised for a higher goal. And one could say, would you do it over again? Right now I would say no, because I know how good it feels to be well rested, to just be cognizant of my vocabulary and the world around me, because those things start getting fuzzier and fuzzier the less sleep you get. And I used to wear it as a badge of honor, like, I pulled an all-nighter. When you pull an all-nighter, you look all disheveled, you look exhausted, and that energy wave, the employees feel it, the clients feel it. So I feel that because I'm healthy and strong, that has a much more impactful presence for those different audiences that I interact with. So work-life balance for me, I took everything off my plate in December, and I was on the farm with my parents, and I just slept. I ate healthily. I've been working out throughout the summer in LA. And then I decided, what do I want back on the plate and in which order? And for me, the first thing that went back onto my plate was my family. Because they were people that my mom, dad, and sister just had not gotten quality time for me for 6 years. And I would multitask, they'd call me, and I'd be like, yeah. And they could tell I was doing something else. I said, no more of that.
Yeah.
The other thing I put back at the center of my world was my health. And again, as an athlete and as someone who knows what it feels like to be strong and be healthy and to not have those things, I needed to get back to that.
What sports?
I played basketball, softball, and volleyball. And I took volleyball and softball all the way through my senior year and almost played softball in college.
Yeah.
And but through all of those, weight training was a big part of being able to be an athlete. And so I brought weight training back in a big way along the circuit. So here you have health and family. Once those were at the core, because before it was about building my company and doing innovative work, that was at the core. And so I pushed those out to the second ring, and I put these back here. I'll tell you what though, then all of a sudden the other rings, I can do more. And I've been able to work with people that I used to work with at my other company, and I've been able to bring in some freelancers, and before you know it, I'm more productive, I'm having a better time, I'm working with people who are 360 degrees of wonderfulness, and I'm healthy, and I'm in touch with my family, and I'm like, man, I should have been doing this the whole time. But I think it does take, there's a lot of lore out there that your 20s are about kind of going wide and figuring it all out, and then your 30s, you can kind of build that root system, and you also start getting real focused about what you will and will not put up with. If someone does not treat you well or someone else well, I don't need them in my life. I don't. And I don't need to fix them or save them or help them. I just need to, keep amplifying and surrounding myself with people who bring you up, right? And those are all kind of cliche things, but it's true. And I think sometimes we make these sacrifices because, but the money's good, or but my boss is paying, but maybe I'll get this promotion. And we kind of hold on for just too long, and only to find out that we've wasted half of our career, or a lot of our hours that we're awake, we're miserable, and that's just, it doesn't have to be that way.
So you're not miserable anyway.
And
You're sleeping, that's a good
I'm
thing.
sleeping, and there were points of misery, not because, I worked with wonderful, wonderful people, had amazing projects, but it was exhausting we took on way too much and we over committed, so that meant, you know, the hours had to come from somewhere, and it usually fell on me and others that I work closely with. That meant we'd have to work 10, 12, 15-hour days instead of 8-hour days. And then, you know, and some of the personalities that I've worked with in my career, as I noted, I can do it, but in doing so, it takes a little bit of your soul each time that you have to tolerate lack of civility and lack of respect in the workplace. In life, it should not be tolerated, and especially in the workplace, it should not be tolerated. So I finally kind of drew that line and said, no more of that.
Do you feel like people didn't respect you because you're a woman or young?
Never
or
once.
Never once.
I worked incredibly hard. I delivered very hard. My work product spoke for itself. And never once did I ever have anyone second guess me.
Okay.
I would say, as a younger person in that communications firm, when I wanted to do the kind of internet service, online brand management, I did have people kind of say, well, you know, you don't have the experience it takes to be able to take this and fully
But
run
they
the
still
product.
respected your.
Yeah, they still respected me, and you know, while I still think to this day that I probably could have pulled it off, they were right. You know, I had all of maybe 2 years of work experience, maybe a year and a half of work experience outside of college under my belt, and wouldn't have been positioned as I would, you know, if I was a 30-something vice president in the firm.
Yeah.
But that goes back to work ethic and discipline. People will respect that, and they'll see you working hard, they'll see you delivering hard, they'll see you come early, stay late. You know, my team always saw me roll up my sleeves and work right alongside them up to the finish line, carry things across the finish line if I needed to, and that I saw in both my parents, but especially my father.